Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jasmine, part of the Eternal Circle, also known as the Psychic Mummy. I'm here today doing another beautiful sketch. So this time the only difference is that this sketch is going to be on my watercolor paper. Um, uh, it's just easier for me to do spirit guides this way. I've already somewhat started it already, as I was in the midst of finishing stuff up for other paintings I was in the process with. So printing off write-ups and getting that packaged and ready for the mail. So right now I'm in the process of sketching this one spirit guide who popped in through the hallway while I was doing this. So far I've got the face sketched up and helmet, so all I have to do is kind of reconnect to the spirit guide here. Just waiting for her to kind of pop up here, and hopefully she comes and resurfaces. I don't think that's going to be any problem at all. She kind of popped up in the hallway and I was like, oh, okay, you must be the next one I'm drawing. And she turned out to be like this very kind of playfulish, seemed to be wispy, kind of timid spirit. And all of a sudden it was like, bam, nope, no, she was not. So she had a bit of a guise going on underneath all of that kind of playfulness, shy type of thing. She actually ended up being more of a warrior type of spirit coming through. So I'm just going to show you what I've got sketched so far. Okay. So the angles that I have on her face, they're different than say like actual human angles as far as facial features go, only because she's not exactly human, the way that she stepped in. So instead, what we've got ourselves here, she's showing herself as more of like I'd like to say like a Valkyrie type of spirit guide. So she's got these big wings that she can show off at any point in time if she wanted to. I'm not too sure if that's what she wants me to include in the painting. That's up to her. So we'll see what she wants me to include. All I know is that she wants me to include this big kind of trident type of spear is what she's now she's going through. So she wants me to show this big trident type of spear that she has going on. So I actually had to put my contestants, the winners' paintings on hold. I actually had a commission come in, which was kind of cool. So I had to do my commission first, obviously. So she's now just showing me the trident that she wants me to sketch here. At first, when she showed herself to me, I thought that maybe she was more like a Viking, but then she showed me the type of armor she was wearing, and then she showed me her wings, and I'm like, oh, you're not a Viking at all, because when I'm going to go to paint her, she has a lot of facial markings below her eyes and around her nose as well. So obviously I'm not going to sketch that out on her face, because when you go to paint, especially watercolor paint, any kind of pencil marks that you do ends up showing up when you go to paint it. So it's either you have to layer the paint on, or you're going to have to erase your pencil marks. Right, so that's why I don't tend to sketch out any kind of markings on faces when I go to do watercolor. When I go to transfer images from sketch to watercolor paper. The reason why I don't exactly do sketches for, say, spirit guides, usually in my sketchbook, and then transfer over, is just because of the fact that there isn't as much, say, like detail or as much information to jot down. Usually when I go to say, write the information down from a spirit guide painting, it's usually when I'm typing it. That's when they sit down and they talk to me, and then I'm typing what they're telling me to type. And it's usually more of a personal message type of idea, so it's more like a channel message, which is why sketching them the way it is now on the watercolor paper is fine, versus saying doing the transfer from, like, for a past life, from sketchbook to watercolor paper, because then I can jot down notes on my sketchbook and then transfer the image over, right? It's different in that sense, because it's not, because the message is already pretty much there, versus when I go to do a write-up for the spirit guide is more telling me the information when I'm doing the write-up. As far as the painting goes, they just pretty much show me who they are, they show me the symbols to include, or they show me the background that I need to paint, and then I can sketch it out. But most times with the information itself, most of the information, it comes while I'm sitting down to write it. That's the only key difference between the two. That's as much as I can tell you difference-wise, without my brain going "Ooh," while she's talking to me and I'm sketching her. So this spirit guide is actually, even though she's very much a warrior type of spirit guide, she definitely is a more of like a chameleon, kind of playful type, right? So she'd be the type where she would, like, say, use guises to lure someone in, and then be like, I've got you now, type of idea. So using different images or different visage, different faces, to lure a person, which is what she totally did with me, which I find kind of funny, because I'm like, I'm not surprised by that, like I'm like, whoa, okay, yeah, alright, I've seen this trick before, okay, that's funny. I look forward to when I can have, like, an actual office chair in here. This chair's kind of like, it's a little bit painful. So I did complete another spirit guide, um, which I will, um, which I'll be using to show you guys how I paint. Um, Painting is a little bit different than, say, how I sketch, only because when it comes to paint, um, that's when usually spirit guide gets a little bit more picky with me when it comes to the colors that I use, especially if I say, for example, when I go to paint her, I say her because it's easier to define, but when I go to paint the spirit guide, they can get a little bit snarky about the colors and the right colors, and I'm sure you guys will find it kind of funny when I'm like, it sounds like I'm talking to myself basically when I go to paint, because they'll be like, no, 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 not that color, not that color, that's the wrong color, it has to be this color. And I'll be like, okay, okay. That's pretty much how the conversation goes. Oftentimes my husband goes, are you feeling okay? Do you need to take a moment? And I'm like, no, I'm okay, seriously. It's alright. And he's like, are you talking to someone? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, alright, I'll leave you to the conversation. The other spirit guide that I had talked with was actually quite funny. Very great sense of humor. This other spirit guide who would come through. And I was having my morning coffee. And this spirit guide had come through. Now I was sitting there, not even halfway awake, having my coffee. And all of a sudden I see these swirly colors, pink and green and yellow and blue. I'm like, ooh, that's pretty. That's so pretty. What is that? And then poof, this amazing man just shows up and he's like, hi. And I'm like, hi, how is it going? And then he's like, Aran Hasahan. I'm like, come again? And I'm like, I don't know the dialect. Sorry. So I basically had to ask my husband, I'm like, I know that this dialect is somewhere close by you. It might be a little bit off, but could you translate for me? And so basically my hubby's like, oh, basically, he wants to see the beauty of your paintings. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I have no knowledge of any Arabic other than a couple of letters in the alphabet and some colors like Abiyat and Aswad, and that's about it. As far as my Arabic goes, Shukran. That's about it. I have no knowledge of any other Arabic. So I got the spirit guide who was talking a different dialect of Arabic, and I'm trying to tell this to my husband, and my husband's like translating it for me. And he's like, where is he from? I'm like, he's showing me this map. I'm like, well, it's by the Nile River, but it's closer to the sea. I'm like, I'm not too sure where this is. I'm like, I have no idea. I said, it looks weird. Like, it looks like a weird situated place. Like, I don't know if that actually exists or not. And he says, oh, no. That's like, he's Nubian. I'm like, yeah, no. I think you're right, yeah. And so I was sketching him out, and he's like, yeah, nope, he's Nubian. I'm like, cool, all right. So it was a very interesting day, interesting conversations to be had. Like I said, I have no real knowledge of Arabic, not very versed in the dialect, but it was a very interesting time. to say the least. But the spirit guide that had come in for that person was extremely full of joy and full of happiness, and oddly enough, very flirtatious. So I said to my hubby, I'm like, I have a feeling that maybe this guide is more of like a common guide. And a common guide is someone who has passed and has become a spirit guide in order to help us overcome any problems or situations that they're facing in their life that is very close to any problems and situations that they've faced in their life, right? Or to bring forth any kind of emotional resilience to any problems and situations. So I have a feeling that this guide, this Nubian guide that came through, was a common guide for this individual, and that they're trying to bring some joy to this person's life. Possibly because this person is not looking at things in a very positive tone, or they're looking at the situation and not really seeing it for the joy that it should be. For this guide in particular that I'm drawing right now, this warrior guide that's stepping through, I think is so much as she just wants to be heard, and she wants this person to know that she's there. She's the one that's been firmly planting the ideals or the ideas to stand firm, to stand the ground. This person tends to kind of sway on decisions, especially when it comes to people. Not so much like a pushover, but more of sympathetic or empathetic to other people when they really shouldn't be. Say if a person goes through the same situation over and 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 over again, and you still end up being there constantly, and that person hasn't learned their lesson. So this guide is basically telling this person, like, look, you need to set your boundary right there. Like, that's enough nonsense. So I have a feeling that that's why this guide is stepping through, is to be like, look, you've had enough. You need to voice it out now, and you need to like tell people to basically bugger off. One thing with me is that I will not sugarcoat what I read. My mom has always been on my case about learning tact. Sorry. That was my mom, not so much me. I've tried that a lot in my life, and somehow it just kind of doesn't fit me. I've tried to be a little bit softer in my approaches, but if that's the way that the information is coming across, that's the way the information is coming across. Especially in terms of guides. Some guides can be like warrior guides. Some warrior guides can be a little bit more rough around the edges. Other warrior guides can be a little bit more quiet, or a little bit more playful, a little bit more serious. Depends, right? It all depends. So I've just finished sketching her hand, which is going to be obviously armor plated by the looks of things. Show me armor. Or type of armor-ish here. Some kind of black thing underneath it, almost like a piece of cloth or something. So it's been actually very interesting. So far I've drawn 2 paintings, 2 female and 2 male. I have to say that female is actually my probably stronger suit. I'm not gonna lie, probably because I am female, so it's easier for me to draw the female body. Um, but it at least allowed me to kind of draw a bit out of my comfort zone, which has been nice. So we got some armor plated stuff up here. So it's now she's just kind of filling me in where the armor is. Some plating here, V-shaped, and then crossover. Okay, so obviously when I go to paint, some of these lines are going to be erased. Okay, got the breastplate going on. Very simple breastplate, very simple armor for the most part, which is kind of nice, not gonna lie. Yeah, I delivered 2 of my paintings today. So the one commission and then the one of the contest ones that I did, the one that you saw me sketch out last week, I had painted and sent that forth. I actually have a picture of that on my phone, which I'll pull up here for you guys. So pretty much overall the paintings take me about 3 to 5 days to complete. It depends on the detail. So this is the I don't know if you guys can see that very well. No. Yeah, no. Stupid thing. Yeah, no. So that was an epic fail. But for the most part, it takes me about yeah, that's not turning up very good. It takes me about an average 3 to 5 days to paint, depending on the detail of the painting itself. You can always take a look at that painting. I have it posted on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as well. So generally it takes me about that time to paint, just because I need to have the colors right. I need to have the time to do it because I'm also a mom. And I also need the time to sit down and do the write-up as well. So I'm including that in the time frame of my painting. So there's a lot of stuff going on, in between of my paintings, right? I'm doing readings, I'm doing notes, I'm holding events, I might be doing personal readings as well. You never know. Like for example, last week, I had a commission come in, so the contest winners for these paintings had to be pushed back a little bit. So that's just how that occurred, which is absolutely fine. Okay. So far we've got, I don't know if you guys can see that. So far we've got her in her armor plate, trident, Okay. We gotta do the wraparound of our fingers across around the trident. At some point, I'll do that. Okay. Her face is rather slender. I'm guessing that's what it's meant to be. Valkyries, generally speaking, are very much like, I guess, viewed as angelic beings, warrior angelic beings. Very much like our archangels, I suppose. Let's look up the history of that. Because I don't know too much about Valkyries, to be honest, so let's look up the history. Okay. Stupid phone. I curse at my phone a lot. I don't know if anybody else does, but I do. I'm like, stupid phone. No, we're not looking for the actual movie. Thank you. So it's Norse mythology. Cool. Is one of a host of female figures who choose those who may die in battle and those who may live. Selecting among half of those who die in battle, the Valkyries take their chosen to the afterlife hall of the slain, Valhalla, ruled over by the god of Odin. Interesting. So they are the choosers of the fallen, and they're the helpers of the god Odin. Interesting. Blue, blue, blue. Refers not only to their choosing who gains admittance to Valhalla, but also to their choosing who dies in the battle using malicious magic to ensure that their preferences in this regard are brought to fruition. Examples of Valkyries design who lives and who dies around in the Eddas and sagas. The Valkyrie's gruesome side is illustrated most vividly in a poem. Sitting at loom and weaving the tragic fate of the warriors. Interesting. So, let's see. Valkyries. Let's just see. Because I'm picking up that she's a warrior, so... Oh, you silly phone. See, this is what I do half the time, right? When I'm doing... is like the research behind it. And this is like part of the research behind it is finding out Wikipedia. Gotta love Wikipedia. So basically the same stuff. Blah blah blah. They also appear as lovers of heroes and other mortals. Daughters of royalty. Interesting. Well, that's about it. Either way, the spirit guide is portraying themselves as a Valkyrie. So, there you have it. To me, the energy on this particular spirit guide is warrior. So there you have it. I'm not going to say that they aren't. Just the energy on this particular spirit guide is a warrior. and they're just showing themselves as Valkyrie. Now I'm saying this because the fact that spirit guides can choose their form, right? They're choosing a form that's most comfortable to us. And for whatever reason, this person, okay, probably has some kind of attachment to Greek mythology or Norse mythology, or even say even Norse pagan type of connection is what I'm picking up on. And if that's the case, then yes. When I started first doing this painting or sketch, the name Freya kept coming up, although I know that's not her name, because Freya is actually looked at as a pagan deity now. However, with that being said, I don't know what the practices are for Freya. I don't know if that is her practice, or if that is what she's trying to portray, the spirit guide's trying to portray as being Freya. But to me, the spirit guide is portraying as a Valkyrie. The Valkyrie and Freya actually look very similar a lot. If you were to, like, say, Google the images, they look very close and similar. Same with the Vikings and whatnot, right? Because they come from the same cultural background. And the only thing is that sometimes Valkyries are portrayed with wings, and sometimes they're not. Obviously, I don't know if she's wanting to be portrayed with wings. She's not exactly showing me wings. She is showing me fluffy clouds, so we'll see what happens with that as a background. I'm just waiting for her to choose her background, because she's kind of going back and forth on that right now. Like I said, spirit guides, they like to pick and choose what they're going to show you. So I'm just going to stop sketching her right now until she figures out what she wants. But if you were to Google the images between Valkyrie, Freya, and Viking warrior women, they all have the same kind of look to them. Like I said, for whatever reason, Freya did come to mind. Like I said, I don't know if that is the practice of this person, or the practice of the deity of this person, or if it's what the spirit guide is trying to portray, or if that's something that the spirit guide wants her to look into. We'll see. Like I said, I don't want to divulge too much, because who knows, maybe this person's watching this right now. And also because some of the information is also personal to some degree, so I can only give so much too, right? And the spirit guide will be like, hey, quiet, shh. And I really don't feel like getting poked with this, 3-pronged trident, really. So what I'm going to do is I am going to probably leave it at that. So I'm going to leave it at at this sketch at this moment. So once again, this is the sketch that we have. Okay, I'll show you the other sketch. I don't know how well it's going to come through on my phone. I just didn't think to bring it downstairs with me while I was doing all this, because I was like, okay, grab my coffee, grab all this stuff, because the twins are asleep. Let's go. Okay, that's just how it happens most of the time. Alright. Let's just see here. So many pictures. There we go. So I don't know if you guys will see that, just because this is on my phone yet. Not gonna see that. Sorry. Oh, there we go. Can you see it? Just a little bit. There we go. All right. So that's a little bit of an image. So what I'll do next video is that you'll see me paint that picture, the one that I just showed you on my phone, just that way you guys can see what the process is like when I go to paint. The process is a lot different. Like I said, it's a lot different than when I go to sketch. Just because spirit guides tend to get a little bit more sensitive when it comes to colors. And I get sensitive when it comes to colors too, because I'm like, that doesn't look right. I was painting this past life recently, the commission one, note to self, and I was like halfway through. I'm like, this doesn't look right. Like there's something just not right about it. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll paint the rest of it and see how it goes. And then by the time I was done, I was like, no, man, I'm so glad I didn't mess around with the colors, because it turned out beautifully. So I'm hoping that when my commission gets her painting, that she will fall in love with it, because I absolutely adored all the colors that went into it. It took me a fairly long time to actually do this painting in particular, and but it turned out amazing. Anyways, without any further ado, I'm going to let you guys go. Like I said, that's just how the sketch is going to go today, I think. She's just being very picky, and I don't feel like she really wants to come through right now. I don't feel like she wants to really be... I think she's a little bit camera shy, to be honest, especially for a warrior. Got some backlash for that. Woo! Oh yeah, backlash. Definitely. Anyways, I will be talking with you guys shortly. Once again, this week I will probably do a video for tarot as well, so keep tuned, and I will see you guys later. Positivity for the week as always. Cheers.